Hello everyone and welcome to Linux command line tutorial series. This is tutorial number 9. In this video we will learn how to use mv command. Mv stands for move. It can be used to move both files and folders. So let's get started. First of all, let's do man and we will say mv. And we can see that the usage is pretty similar to CP. CP was copied from our previous video. So let's exit this and let's get started. Here I have my terminal open, as you can see, and here this is my desktop. So I'm on my desktop inside the Finder. First of all, we will go ahead and create two files. Let's create first file, which is 1.txt, and let's say hello. This is a file, and Control D. As you can see, 1.txt is on the desktop, and if we do cat 1.txt, we can see contents of the file. So what a basic mv command will do to 1.txt is, let's try to run it without anything else. So we definitely need to pass in a target file name or a directory. So let's go ahead and do that. First we will say mv1.txt and let's do 2.txt. What this will do is, this will basically rename the file. It is like renaming the same file. So okay, and the contents of the file cat2.txt, they remain the same. So it's just renaming of the file. Now let's go ahead and create a directory. Let's say directory A. So if you wish to move the file from desktop to directory A, pretty simple, do mv2.txt and you will say directory A. And if we do lsa, we can see that the file is moved inside directory A. Let's bring the file back on the desktop and we'll say a2.txt, and when you do dot means current folder. So it means present working directory. So it's desktop, so it will come back on desktop. And now if we see lsa, nothing's in there. So the big difference between CP and MV here is that CP is similar to copy and paste, whereas MV is more like cut and paste. So that's that. So what if you wish to move the file 2.txt inside A and also rename it? You can do that too. You can say A and new file name, and this will be a3.txt. And when we look inside A, we see 3.txt, and when we print the contents, and it's still the same file from the start. Okay, now let's bring it back on the desktop. So we will say mva3.txt and dot. So this comes back on the desktop, and let's create a copy of 3.txt, and we will say 3.txt and let's name it 1.txt. So now we have two files on desktop and one directory, which is A. So let me show you how to move multiple files in a folder. So we will say mv1.txt 3.txt and we'll pass in the folder name, and it will move both the files inside A. Let's bring both the stuff. So if you wish to bring everything from the directory on the desktop, what you can do is, we can say mva and we can use asterisk the star sign and do dot. So what this will do is, this will bring everything inside A on the desktop, and it's here. So let's see what happens when we do let's move one of the file inside A, and as we can see, it's 1.txt is inside A. And let's go ahead and create one more file on desktop, which is of the same file name, and this time we will say brand new. Okay, so Control D and we are out. And when we say cat 1.txt, this is brand new. And when we cat the file inside a directory. It's hello, this is a file. Okay, now let's try to move 1.txt inside a directory. So we will say mv1.txt and directory A. Okay, the file is gone from the desktop, so it's definitely inside A. And when we see inside A, there's only one file. So let's try to print out the contents of the file. And we can see that it's overwritten our previous file. What if you wish that it asks you before overwriting some file? You know, that's what happens when we are using graphical user interface and we are trying to copy or move something with similar file names but different content. It will ask you to skip or replace or something, you know. So what if you wish to get a prompt? You can do that too. This is pretty similar like CP. So let's do one thing. Let's go ahead and create one more file, which is 1.txt, and we forget the angle bracket, and 1.txt, and we will say brand new, and Control D. And let's do once again, let's see the contents of this one is on the desktop, which is brand new, and when we get the one inside A, which is brand new. So let's try to move the file once again, but with an I flag, which is same as CP. It's like, I think it's called interactive, but anyways, let's go ahead and try to move it inside A. And we need to pass in the file name first, and then we will say A and hit enter, and it will ask you, do you wish to overwrite or not? When you say no, it says not overwritten, and when we print out contents of file inside 1.txt, we can say we see that it's just the old file. And if you press Y, it will definitely move the file. Let's go ahead and try that too. So here and Y, and hit yes, and it goes there. And once again, if all the previous commands are stored inside terminal, you can use it with up arrow key and down arrow key. So basically it's pretty similar. So anyways, that's that. Okay, let's move along, and let's go ahead and move our 3.txt inside directory A as well. And now I'll show you how to move directories, the whole directory. Okay, let's try doing this. What happens when we do mva and we just give in a new directory name? It will just it's not just changing the name of the it just changed the name of the folder, but this time you see there was no forward slash. Let's try to do that. What happens if we do mv b with a forward slash and we do C? Okay, definitely it's the folder is C, and it's the same thing. So in CP, if you remember, it had a different behavior right there, right? So okay, so let's say we already so what if you wish to move this C, the whole folder, inside a D folder? So let's create one folder D, and now we will say move directory C to D, and this time it will move the whole directory inside D. So this is a different behavior. Here you have to create a folder and then move, and it will keep the directory. But if you just do directory and the new directory, target directory, does not exist, it will move, it will just rename the folder. You get my point, right? And what next, what we can do? I think that's enough for okay. Let's do one more thing. Let's say we already have a directory, let's say directory F, and let's move. So let's see what's inside C. Oh, lsc, no such file or directory. Oh, we are on the desktop. It did not create the directory. Damn, what happened? Oh, okay, we are inside D right now. And if we do ls, we have directory D and F. When we do lsd, we have directory C. When we do DC, and that's our stuff inside there. So let's do one thing. Let's bring all this stuff on the desktop. So mv dc, and if you remember, we will use star and we will say dot, so it will bring all the files on the desktop. And let's go ahead and see what's inside D now. There's a folder C. Let's go ahead and delete that folder. So we will say rmdir dc, and once again when we do lsd, so a full directory D is empty right now. Let's go ahead and move this files from 1.txt and both the files inside directory D. So we will say mv 1.txt, or you can do this thing as well. Oh, this is good. You can say mv star txt. So this will pick up everything with extension txt and move it to directory D, and bam, it's right there. When we do lsd, we get both the files inside directory D. So let's try two things. First of all, when we do mvd and say f, it will move the whole directory right inside folder directory F. So let's bring the thing back on the desktop. We will say mv fd f and d, and let's bring it back on the desktop. And it's not mc, it's mv. I'm lost here, so we will say fd on the desktop, and it's back. So let's ls in D, ls in F. So F is empty, D has two files. So now we just wish to move the files and keep the folder D. Okay, we don't want D to move, we want contents of D to move. It's pretty simple. You will do mv D with star sign, and we will say F directory, and it will move. And let's go ahead and do lsf with the files, and lsd no files. So that's pretty much it with mv. If you want to learn more, definitely always you can do man and command name, and you can read and try. So that's it for this video, and if you have any questions, post them in the comments. If you like this video, don't forget to hit like, and until next time.